Hello, everyone. Welcome to Telo and Friends show. This is a show by Telo and Friends for Telo and Friends. And today we have once again our friend Nick Lianes, also known as Francis Antonic. Tama,
Okay. Hi,
tama,
guys.
tama ba yun?
Francis pala yung nakalagay dito. Yeah,
Oo.
that's my given name.
You can
Pero,
change it, bro, if you like. Gusto mo palitan ko?
ako na lang. Ayan. Okay. So, hi guys. Good evening or good morning kung nasan bang kayo.
All right.
Hello.
Morning. So, yun. Today we're gonna talk about creativity, bro, Nick. Bakit natin to pag-uusapan?
Creative ka ba?
So eto, para lang sa audience natin, sa 2 or 3 people na makikinig nitong podcast natin. Yung nangyari kasi today, merong sinend sa akin si Nick na ah, isang blog article, no, na
Dito
nakalagay
lalabas.
sa Google Drive.
Oo.
So pwede pala 'yun, no, bro. Parang imbes na gumamit ng blog site, gagamit na lang ng Google Drive para mag-share ng article.
Oo,
Okay ba 'yun?
para i-cook mo muna bago lumabas.
Tama. Para meron munang feedback loop, 'di ba? Tapos sasabihan
Oo.
ka kung ano yung okay, ano yung di okay.
Oo, baka mamaya, bro, bakit ang pangit ng sinulat
Mm.
mo?
Which is connected sa pag-uusapan natin kasi ang
Mm.
pag-uusapan natin is about creativity and particularly how it is expressed in the online world.
Mm.
Tama, no? Kasi meron
Yeah,
tayong
yeah.
mga creative people na katulad mo. Tapos yun kasi yung sinulat mo na article. And nung binasa ko siya, parang medyo may mga ideas na pumasok sa mind ko na I think would be nice na mapag-usapan dito sa ating ah, YouTube channel. Ayoko na siyang tawagin
Mhm.
podcast kasi wala naman akong podcast app
Oo
eh.
nga
Kasi
eh.
I'm not sure, may bayad ba yung mga ganun, bro? Like, mm,
Um, we'll look into it, no? Para, God willing, tayo.
kasi kung may bayad
Maayos
siya,
natin.
baka masyadong
Mm.
magastos.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wala namang, wala naman tayong, wala
Mm,
tayong pera sa wallet for,
totoo.
for this thing.
Yeah.
Okay na sa YouTube, I think.
Yeah, okay
Yeah.
to. YouTube. Tapos yung free Zoom account natin, okay na rin to. Kasi hindi na,
Tama.
para hindi tayo masyadong mag-rumble, no? Para malimit yung time natin sa 30 plus minutes
Yeah.
lang.
Malimit yung ganitong klaseng conversation.
Oo.
What we're doing right now.
Para we get
Yeah.
straight into yung topic, no?
Mm-mm.
Tama.
Speaking of.
Sige, bro. Let's begin with the first question. Alam mo ba yung first question that I sent you? Ako na lang
Yeah.
magbabasa, bro, kasi mas better yata naman galing sa akin.
Tama. Ikaw yung host eh.
Sige. So, question number 1, Brother Nick. Can you share a brief history of your engagement in the online world and some of the creative works you shared online in the past? So since we're talking about creativity and particularly yung expressions of creativity in the online world, ang tanong is, ikaw ba, Brother Nick? Share your story.
Well, medyo frustrated creator ako kasi I have been ever since I went online, I have been uploading my works.
Mm,
To my detriment sometimes,
mm,
but also to my own parang edification as well. So you most of the time the problem is how to cope with ignorance, or not ignorance as in people don't have information. Sorry, I mean indifference. Like you post something online, people don't really care about what you post, right? Because it's your hobby horse, you haven't communicated it properly to them. So
mm,
that's one problem that I'm noticing. But the other problem that I experienced way back, when I didn't have a lot of common sense when I was a teenager, was definitely there was some bullying. I'm not the only cyber citizen out there. A lot of people also were cyber citizens, right? Like, and then
mm.
we're all sharing this space where basically there are no consequences.
Yeah,
or
that's
there
true.
are consequences, you just don't feel them. I think that's a
Yeah.
better term
Mm.
for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. I think in a lot of
Yeah.
ways, parang ganun rin yung ano natin, no? Like, yung podcast na ginagawa nga natin ngayon, itong YouTube channel natin. It's ano eh, um, we're putting things out there. Pero wala naman talagang nakikinig. Or at least as of now, wala pa masyadong nakikinig, di ba? Kasi nga,
Okay lang yun. You gotta
kita
get used
natin.
to that, and then just like it's two people, if two or three people
Mm.
listen to your podcast, that's a wonderful thing. And then they respond, they give their insights.
They give
That'll
comments,
keep
no?
you going, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I think yun nga eh, like we're gonna get into it later, pero it's good to get into it right now rin. I think that's one of yung problems nga with the yung online world is in a lot of ways yung desire natin for attention, for approval, for um all those things. Sometimes it prevents us from putting ourselves out there, 'di ba?
Mm,
So, imbes na parang you're like a child who's willing to do things to present your work, 'di ba? And then
mm.
uh, see how people respond. And sometimes we don't want to do it. Ayaw natin siyang gawin kasi gusto natin okay, gusto natin perfect na agad. When in
Oo.
reality, wala namang, gaya nga na sinabi mo dun sa sinend mo na Google Doc, no? Na hindi naman lahat perfect agad eh. And sometimes
Oo, tama.
we have to start somewhere.
Mm.
And also, like does the quality of a an artwork, sabihin natin, o kaya a creative work, yung quality ba niya is determined by how many people watch or listen or enjoy it? Maybe in one sense, like
Good question, no?
there's a philosophy of art na ganun yung mindset nila. The most amount of, like kung maraming bumili, maraming nag-enjoy, maraming,
Oo.
yun yung para mag-identify ng value ng isang artwork na yun. Pero, I think not necessarily eh. And, ayun, so those are some of my thoughts. Pero ito bro, yung gusto ko
Mm.
palang puntahan dun sa question na yun is, meron ka bang, when you started out, kunyari, bata ka, get into the online world, meron ka ba mga nilabas na mga artworks in the past na whether it's in
Yeah,
writing? Mhm.
I remember I had a multiply account. Did you ever have a
Mm,
multiply account? That was the big thing before. Like if you wanted a
mm,
website, you went to multiply dot
mm,
com. I had like how many multiply accounts? I had like
mm,
three multiply accounts, I think.
mm.
Um, I
Tapos,
posted a lot
mm,
of stories, poetry there. In my high school days, I did get kind of big. There was one story that was a creepy pasta.
mm,
And I still think of it now as like the bar of how many people I've reached.
mm,
Because that creepy pasta got kind of popular.
mm,
Although hindi ko na ma-access yung account na yun. So, ang hirap to say na, oh, provide proof. But I know I wrote that creepy pasta.
yeah.
So, yun yung mga bagay na when I was a digital nomad, when I started becoming a digital citizen, I put them all out there. So, I've been doing this for quite some time now, actually. Ang dami ng mga bagay na nangyayari sa buhay na, kind of prevent me from making stuff.
Mm,
And like I said in the article, that's not something you should be bitter about because, you have no control over that.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, ako rin, ano eh, like there was a time, this is one of the reasons why I found your article very interesting kasi nakarelate ako. Dati rin I used to write fiction when I was, I think ang first time ko magsulat, in-encourage ako nung sister ko. I was 13 years old. And then nagsulat ako ng fiction ko. It was a fan fiction. I won't say kung ano yung story because syempre childhood uh, creativity
Oo.
lumalabas, 'di ba? And then after ko pinost yun, may mga comments, no? Kasi syempre there's a community of people. Hindi mo naman alam kung sino sila pero they also post their stories, ganyan. And then may mga nag-comment naman ng positive, they're very supportive. Pero may isa na nag-comment daw sobrang negative comment talaga, parang sobrang bully niya. Eh syempre 13
Oo.
years old ako, compose ako ng response ko na sobrang ano, like,
Sometimes you're asking for it, eh.
oh, like, yun, tinype,
We don't know better.
tinype ko
Yeah.
yung napakahabang response ko na sobrang galit na galit ako dito sa negative comment na to. Kasi binubuli niya ako, like, sino ba siya, ganyan-ganyan. Tapos parang sabi ko, I'm just a 13-year-old kid, ganyan-ganyan. So, kasama yun sa comment ko. Then, I posted yung comment, and then a few seconds later, dinelete ko yung buong kwento. So, it doesn't exist anymore. Hindi yun.
Mm,
And I still carried yung shame nung
mm.
cyber experience ko of cyberbullying that time. Na yung next na story na sinulat ko dun sa website na yun, talagang every sentence pinag-isipan ko paulit-ulit. Na I really wanted to, ano, kasi may fear na, may shame na eh. Ayoko nang mabully ulit
Mm.
eh. So talagang pinag-igian ko yung sarili ko to put the best na writing na kaya ko at 14, or I think I was 14 years old that time. Talagang pinag-igian ko talaga siya.
Yeah, it kind of pushed you to be better, no?
Yeah, to the point na
Mm.
meron dapat next chapter. Hindi ko na masulit yung next chapter kasi masyado na ako napagod sa first chapter. I stopped writing na during that time. So,
And it also burned you out.
oo, na burn out na
Yeah.
ako. Ayoko na kasi sobrang nakakapagod.
Uh,
Tapos, yung parang nasa mind mo na you have to please the people na negative reaction, negative comment. Parang ano siya, nakakapagod.
oh, gotta
Na,
prove them wrong.
yeah, like parang, and then parang you do it for one chapter, and then the next day, I need to write another chapter. I need to do
Yeah.
another work of art. So yun bro, kaya when you shared yung article, talagang made me look back sa past ko rin. Yun. Kasi syempre, we've all been naging, ano eh, like tayo, well, ako millennial ako. Millennial ka rin ba bro?
Ano na ako, nasa edge na ako. People will not give me the millennial card anymore. They think I'm
Okay.
Gen Z. Pero
Yeah.
I live in the millennial, in the
Yeah,
world of
dun sa
millennials.
ano no, like in that
Oh,
yung gap na yun, na period na yun.
I'm in the middle ground, 96
Yeah,
represent.
yeah, right. And then ako 92 eh. No? So in a way, yung transition na yun, it was pre-internet na medyo na-experience ko pa yung wala pang internet. And then yung parang post, yung nag-boom na yung internet, like everyone became cyber citizens na. Parang that time period, medyo makikita mo yung distinction eh. And one of the things na challenge na nangyari doon kasi is, since this is a new world, bagong mundo siya, no one knows how to deal with it. So basically parang we were like tayo, we were like the first generation that was introduced to this world. And then syempre
Yeah.
mga bata tayo, we're all children, and in a way even yung mga parents natin don't know how to navigate this world. So wala silang parang means to give us wisdom, to give us guidance. Like yun, like cyberbullying, how do you handle that? I remember during that time, wala akong makausap about it. Ay, kinimkim ko lang lahat sa sarili ko yung comment na experience ko nun eh. I couldn't talk to
Mm.
anyone about it. 'Di ba? For example lang. So, ayun. You wanna add anything dun sa story mo, bro? Baka may nag-pop up sa mind mo before we go dun sa next question.
Yeah. So ano yun I am, parang I'm always a two-pronged kind of guy.
Mm.
I write stories, pero I also try to draw. Like,
Mm.
and then I draw and then I write stories. It's a, it's a combination that never kind of gets separate.
Mm.
Even though like at some point I want to write stories, another point I wanna um I wanna I wanna draw things, right?
Mm.
So parang most of the flack I got that was that was very difficult for me to handle was definitely when it comes to my drawing.
Mm. I see. Mm.
Because I didn't have enough training. And training is hard. Learning how to improve
Mm.
yourself is hard. I was surprised at how hard it is. Back then, maybe I didn't have the stomach, or
Mm.
yeah, I didn't have the stomach to do hard things back
Yeah.
then. Because
Mm.
you're a kid, right? Um you get you just do what you feel is easy for you, parang
Yeah.
ganon, your niche,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
You don't want that discipline. So that was me before. So it was very hard to to see people kind of like bullying me. And it was just actually the funny thing is it was one moment.
Mm.
I drew this stupid picture. I
Yeah.
was so hyped about it. Like, wow, this guy is doing this cool pose.
Mm.
And I think people were laughing at it. They were making fun of it.
Mm.
People from my school.
Yeah. Mm.
And I think that cemented a lot of kind of deep-seated frustration, like anger at my work.
Mm.
Because I knew it was flawed. But yeah, a lot of people kind of want to pull your strings. They really want to pull your
Mm.
strings. They really want to kind of press down on you
Yeah.
to get a rise out of you. And that's what they did. I remember that moment very um I don't remember that moment with a lot of anger now.
Mm.
Everyone's moved on. It was high school.
Yeah. So
But
you were
yeah.
bullied not necessarily sa internet, pero in high school when you
No, no,
presented
yeah,
yung
yeah.
art mo.
On
Mm.
Facebook.
Ah,
On
on
Facebook
Facebook.
in high
Okay, I
school,
see.
yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
And I eventually grew out of the um I kind of grew up in skill as well. So it's not like I know I sucked in high school. I didn't know it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think the the funny thing about being a bully and kind of making fun of something it's the best no, not the best, the most brutally direct way you can tell someone that you need to improve.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, but it's also the most demotivating thing you can say to someone.
Mm.
I think that's the two-pronged issue with the bullying that I received.
Yeah,
Because
that's true.
I learned how to improve, right? Like I
Mm.
now understood that at some
Mm.
level my art sucks.
Mm.
Um, but on another level, I use that frustration to try and do better,
Yeah.
right?
Actually, that's
But
interesting, bro.
yeah.
Mm.
Mm-mm.
May add lang ako diyan. Kasi yung I don't know, siguro we can get into some yung narrative theory, yung hero's journey. Pero parang bakit kaya karamihan ng ng mga superhero movies, yung mga superheroes, Spider-Man for
Mm.
example, meron silang bully.
Palaging may bully, no?
Mm.
Yeah.
I think in a way, meron siyang, it serves nga a function yung pag meron someone who's, we're not endorsing bullying, no? 'Di ba? Pero at the same
Oh,
time,
yeah.
why is it like parang a sign of parang for a lot of people, medyo i-psychologize lang natin ng konti, pero ba't kaya for some people na it's like a sign of manhood when you're able to push yung buttons ng mga tao, make them frustrated, make them angry. Kasi in a way, possibly, baka that's really how as men, ganun dapat natin pinupush yung isa't isa. Maybe there's a kinder way to do it. Hindi necessarily yung parang you're putting them down, you're shaming people, you're making them feel worthless. Pero maybe there's a way of doing it na um, mas godly siguro. I don't know. Like, just a thought, no?
Yeah, pero I suppose the object of you kind of like um not making it easy for your friend is it's all good fun, just
Mm.
poking fun, making sure you're not taking yourself too seriously. I understand that.
Yeah, kasi ano
Um
rin like for example, I'll give another example. Yung Karate Kid, for example.
mm,
Parang bully siya, then in the end, natalo siya ng si Karate Kid, tinalo niya yung bully niya. And then parang
mm,
friends na sila after. Di ba? Siya yung nagbigay
yeah.
ng trophy. Di ba? Parang, is there like parang something na psychological about that na or baka medyo Gino Jordan Peterson ko lang, no? I don't know. Hindi ko alam.
Yeah,
Pero,
dominance hierarchy and all that. Yeah. I don't
lobster,
know.
no?
Oh.
Mm.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I
Mm.
don't know. I don't have an opinion on that. It really depends on the kind of person you're talking to, because I think one thing that we leave out is that people are depraved,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah. Mm.
yeah, we and again, like no, we want that dominance hierarchy. So putting other people down, and I've experienced this because I was also part of that hierarchy in high school. You know,
Mm.
you're not as good as this person from this section, So what you can do
Mm.
is, make sure you're not as bad as this other person from this lower level. So you're in a pecking order. And I don't think that's the kind of pecking order we're meant to have as
Yeah.
men. But when it comes to making sure that you're not taking yourself too seriously, you're not a god in your own universe. I think everyone needs that, and everyone needs a slice of humble pie.
Mm.
And it's
Which
good to have friends who tell you, bro, you're not. That's a delusion of grandeur.
so we'll try
don't
to
don't
exercise
sweat it.
that ano no. We'll try na siya exercise quickly dito. Yung pinag-usapan natin, the importance of parang pushing people to improve. I think yun
Yeah.
yung maganda no sa bullying. So I'm gonna bully you a little bit. Na joke lang. Di no? More na parang yung sa just the blog article nga na sinend mo, no? I think one thing na pwedeng ma-improve, bro, I'll use those terms so para mas Christian. One thing that you
Oh.
can improve dun is if yung story na yan or something like it, i-include mo siya para hindi like kasi you talk about 'di ba dun sa article you talk about yung mental
Oo, ang
bullying.
dami nung ano nangyari doon.
Yeah. Pero if you can like give your readers something specific na nangyari.
Yeah.
Like, for example, parang sa introduction or somewhere there, you tell this story about you made this drawing and then people saw it and then parang may hinila nila yung underwear mo from behind you and then they put
Mm.
it over your head. Something like that, no?
No, that did not happen. Briefs are not that elastic, unfortunately.
Na
Or else
yun.
I'd be doing it too. Could you imagine that? But yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm,
Well, iba naman kasi yung objective na, no? That was but yeah, good point, good point. Kung pa-publish ko yun.
yeah.
Yung article na yun.
I'm just thinking
Um,
as a reader,
mm,
parang feeling ko parang, oh, ang ganda rin tong sinasabi ni Nick. Parang,
mm.
pero nangyari ba talaga? Nabully ba talaga siya?
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
want something tangible lang as a reader. So
Oh,
yun,
feeling
parang
ko feeling ko like if I were to do that, um hindi kasi it's a blog, 'di ba? So parang
mm,
one would assume I'd probably hyperlink it to
hmm,
another blog post and then
puwede,
like just give
puwede.
it that kind of context.
Or
Um
puwede hyperlink mo to a YouTube video of yung time na when someone wedgied you 'no, hindi, joke lang.
yeah. I think of what do you call this? I think of my old posts as well. I normally hyperlink stuff on my
Mm,
old blog. Yeah.
yeah,
But anyway, I don't mind I don't
mm,
mind letting that just be parang just hinting that and then let other people figure it out or let other people pick up the pieces. I don't know, like that's just the world builder in me. Like you're not supposed to get everything all at
mm,
once because that's something that you need to earn in a way you need to earn that for the payoff.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Pero ikaw, it's up to you, it's your work. So, uh, you do what you want with it, bro. Pero yan, that's my comment. And I'm not saying it as ano, parang what you can do or what you should do. I'm saying it as something na I wish I saw from the ano no. Kasi other
Yeah, yeah.
people may say other things eh no. Pero yung nga, parang that's the challenge sa creativity rin eh kasi
Mm.
you're managing expectations eh ng mga tao, 'di
Oh
ba?
yeah, definitely.
Like
That's
that's
something I'm working on right now.
one of the things na parang like for me, siyempre as a preacher no, parang I prepare sermons every week. And then what I notice rin is kasi I always get feedback no from people and pero usually yung mga tao like sa church they'll always give positive feedback kasi usually when you're the person na with the na nasa stage, you're the one with the authority nga, um in a way parang they y- like you want to honor 'di ba yung word ni God. So most of the godly people naman they wouldn't parang say their comments about yung or yung corrections nila about the content, 'di ba? Siyempre they have comments about yung delivery, like sometimes like
Mm.
yung PowerPoint presentation. Although usually they don't use naman PowerPoint, no.
That's
Um,
good. Yeah, let them. It's about you. I mean, it's about the word. Uh,
pero what I realize is a lot of times yung I receive feedback for example from yung wife ko, 'di ba? Si Fran. And then
mm,
many times ang nagiging pumapasok sa mind ko as I'm preaching is anong sasabihin ng wife ko about this, 'di ba?
mm,
And then parang ah sometimes it helps a lot, 'di ba? Kasi
mm,
my wife thinks very differently from me, which means na parang yung other side of the spectrum in terms of temperament, in terms of yung big five personality traits or kung ano man yung gagamitin mo na parang she's able to um kaya niya ma-touch yung side na yun. Like for example, ako I'm very extroverted. That's why willing ako to make this YouTube channel, put myself out there. My wife is very introverted, 'di ba? Ako parang I'm
mm.
very ambitious yung
Extroverted.
yeah, and yung parang the way na parang yung ano ko, yung uh, sinfulness ko manifest in a lot of ways. Usually is in pride and ambition, things like that. Whereas yun sa wife ko is the opposite. So when she notices, for example, na parating ito yung naiisip ko na mga examples sa sermon, the things that I'm trying to correct, makikita niya yung kabilang side. Some of our audience hindi like they can't relate dun sa ganong um, illustration or ganong example or ganong application of that
Mm,
passage. So yun, it's helpful in a lot of ways pero also sometimes minsan nga parang nate-tailor ko nga to specific people.
mm.
And sometimes for example like sa church context, there are people who are have authority, have meron silang parang may hierarchy structure. And then there are certain people na you want to appease, 'di ba? And sometimes
Oh
it
yeah.
affects yung delivery. And in a lot of ways, ganun din sa art natin. Like sometimes meron
Mm,
tayong parang community na meron silang ways of doing things and we want to parang appease yung gusto ng community na yun. Any thoughts about that, bro?
oh.
Before we go dun sa next question.
I think that's a very interesting question, no. Kasi ako I'm a fantasy artist. Or well I aspire to be one, no. Like my goal is to make fantasy with teeth.
Mm-mm.
And one of the things na yung mga major breakthroughs ko in art is like monsters, horror so I think number one, like you can't deny na may audience talaga ang ang mga work mo. Like there's a specific niche for your work. Even for preaching, I think there's a specific niche. Christians, right? Like ganon, like that's a niche already, right? And then you have like some people will be able to relate, other people will not. Pero you'd have to you will be relatable to that kind of niche, right? But I think you're talking about parang specific targets that you're trying to get to like, parang ganon. I think na ang hirap, it's hard to be controlled by that impulse. It because it gives forth very negative fruit. Kasi what if i-ignore ka nila or it doesn't vibe with them, right? So it's just gonna shatter your whole confidence, and even your progress, right?
Mm-mm.
I do experience that sometimes. May mga people na I really look up to.
Mm-mm.
Like ito yung mga people who are to me very much giants.
Yeah.
From whom I get a lot of confidence. And then
Mm-mm.
it doesn't appeal to them as it does my friends or people who are well versed in fantasy, and that should be okay. That
Mm-mm.
should you should be okay with that. In fact, you should not entertain that. Don't let it
Ah.
don't nurse it
Mm.
deeply because it's going to disappoint you.
Mm.
I think what the ultimate thing that matters is, the joy of creation.
Mm.
The
Yeah.
joy that you're, I know, you're in the process of making something that's in your head, that coincides with a payoff that you have in your mind,
Mm.
that you are progressing in that, in manifesting that on canvas, or in a novel, or in whatever medium you have. I think it's more important that the story that is in your mind, the message that you have, the person that you want to draw is manifested in the way that you want it to be, in the way that you are interpreting it on your canvas. And then, to hell with people who are not interested with your work. Or
Yeah.
joke lang ito, hell. Pero to the desert with them. Just forget about
To
them.
the
Focus
wilderness.
on, yeah, to the
To,
wilderness with them. Focus on, I think that's
to the
my
to the non-existence. Na joke lang.
no, no, no.
Annihilationist pala. Joke
That's
lang
another
yun.
topic with another person, not me. All right.
Yeah.
Pero yeah, going back, I think if you're not in it for the sake of the joy that God is hiding in creation. Kasi God is the one who gave sub-creation to you. That's what I said in my article. Sub-creation is you. It's you being creative.
Yeah.
But you're not
Mm.
creating things out of nothing, right? Unlike God. God creates things out of nothing. Tayo, we create things out of pencils and digits and whatnot. So we're sub-creating, and if you're not in it for the joy of sub-creating, why are you in this craft, or why are you trying to practice? If you're just in it to please people in your team, or the people you look up to, you're
Mm.
you shouldn't be here. This should be
Yeah.
about the joy of making.
Siguro, I'll push back ng konti, no? I understand yung idea, no? Kasi you wouldn't do something if you're not enjoying it. And
Yeah.
some people are just negative, and then we have to parang put them into non-existence, diba? Or yan.
Yeah.
Or whatever your kung ano yung doctrine mo
Afterlife
about that.
is.
But eternal life na lang kasi Christian
Mm.
tayo, no? Yeah.
To
So,
eternal life with them.
yeah.
Sisend mo na sa heaven, What?
Pero
Anyway.
at the same time kasi it's in a way you don't just get criticism from bad faith people, 'di ba? Like I think you said this at the start, eh. Like sinabi mo rin to na uh dun sa article mo rin na sometimes the reason why you're prevented from uh putting your art out there, producing your art, and then making it available for other people kasi you don't want to be the novice. Like, of course,
Mm.
one of yung arguments mo was parang ayaw mo maging, parang you don't want to experience yung bullying, yung mental bullies mo. Like, you don't want them to criticize yung ano. Pero
Yeah.
the other thing that you said is you don't want rin maging parang novice in your craft. Which means there's a process of development. And
Yeah, yeah.
sometimes it's you receive uh, criticism or parang points of improvement from people who can help you get there, from people you respect, from people who um, not even if they're not parang kasi ito like when we produce art or for example when we produce for me ako like when I write a sermon. I'll use my own example na lang kasi yun yung close sa akin. When I write a sermon, tapos parang kinausap ko yung one of the members in the congregation after. And then sinabi niya, "Oh, Pastor Telo, like, thank you for that message. Sobrang nagustuhan ko yung point mo dito sa ganyan-ganyan." And then they say the exact opposite of yung point na sinabi ko talaga. Then that
Yeah.
says something, 'di ba?
Oh.
Like
I mean,
even
you
though
you you messed up in that regard.
Yeah, what I'm trying to point out is na even the people who are not na hindi sila parang expert in your craft. Since sila yung audience that you're trying to serve through your craft, sila yung parang they're the people you want
Mm.
to share the joy with sa'yo. Then when they respond a certain way dun sa the art or the thing that you're producing for them, parang you have to take that into account yung
Tama.
the way you process your own craft.
Mm.
And
I
yun nga eh. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you wanna add something there?
Yeah, I am totally for that. Inisip ko lang na ano, there are two kinds of feedback. It's like, the first kind is, and the negative kind is, oh, why don't you do it like this? And then it's a totally different target, totally different aim or payoff, right? Like, oh, why aren't you drawing in anime style when I'm trying to draw something else? Or there's the other kind, which is more like this. I know this is what you're trying to aim for, but I didn't get there with you. All right.
Mm-mm.
And then here's the steps for me to get there with you. So the one style is like they're trying to look for something else, right? And that's not what you're offering them. And then the other style is they get what you're here for. It's just not connecting with them. So I'm
Mm-mm.
wondering,
Yeah.
kung if you're targeting someone, like you said, if may mga tao kang tina-target and then hindi na nakuha, um, are you implying the first or the second kind of feedback?
So what I'm trying to say is you can get data from both kinds of feedback. Even the people
I
who don't
agree.
know what
Yeah.
they're talking about, they're
Mm.
responding to your whatever you're communicating to them, whatever you're presenting to them. May response sila. And if
Mm.
yung response nila is not the response that you want to bring out of them, then it might not be yung sinasabi nilang problema na talagang problema. It might be something else.
Right.
Like,
Mm.
for example, this happened before, no? May pinitch ako sermon. And then, yung response sa akin is, ah, dapat siguro merong PowerPoint slides, ganyan. Siyempre sa akin, personally, my conviction is, or not naman conviction, sige sabihin natin preference is na hindi na kailangan yung slides, na the Word of God itself can be yung outline of the sermon. Yun yung preference ko in preaching. And pero when I receive yung comment na yun from someone sa church, I hear it as that kasi yung sinasabi nila is a solution to a problem na nakikita nila, na na-experience nila from the sermon. And ano yung problem? Yung problem is hindi sila nakafollow. Hindi nila nasundan yung train of thought, yung logic of my message. 'Di ba? So even though yung solution that was provided to me ng person from the pew is not a solution na gagamitin ko, it still provides me with information, with data na pwede ko i-input in my next sermon preparation na ay dapat pala I keep yung audience with me. Dapat mapakita ko sa kanya ano yung outline ng argument ko, like what I'm trying to say, and I make myself clear. For example lang, 'di ba? And I think in a way may ganun rin in other forms, in other mediums, so in other forms of art. Pero I think at the same time, totoo naman eh, like
Mm.
in art, no, like let's say in novel writing or in storytelling, may iba-ibang genre talaga, and each
Yeah.
genre meron silang specific audience na tina-target, 'di ba?
Mm.
Like tama ka naman eh, like not everyone likes sci-fi, 'di ba? Not everyone likes rom-com, yung mga romantic comedy, 'di ba? So I think it takes time and it takes wisdom to develop those things.
Mm.
Pero in a way, you need to develop yung thick skin rin eh as an artist. Or else parang we'll all just hide under a rock. And then di na tayo maglalabas ng mga podcast episode natin kasi ayaw natin mabully eh. Ayaw natin makriticize,
Oo.
'di ba?
Tama, tama. I definitely agree with you, no? We should definitely have thick skin. This has been ingrained in us by older people. You know, "Eh, the young people, they don't have thick skin. Back in their day, they were tougher than us. Okay, fine. No, I do get that. I think um part of the solution would be to accept, to make sure, to have an ego na is pacified, that will let you kind of, um let you not interpret this comment as an attack on your value as a person. Parang ganon. There's a lot of
Mm,
things that you need to have, like that stability, to just accept that sometimes you're going to look stupid.
mm,
And then, learn from it, and then maybe if they don't like it, it's because you have the bravery to see if it's because of their taste, or it's really a lack in your skill. um and I can relate to the thick skin thing, because when I started drawing again, and then I kind of, in a silly way, I started like posting online. I think around 2020, because I think the pandemic was awful, pero in a way subversively I learned how to do art and a little bit of writing then. And I was brave enough to show people my art online. They were kind enough not to always point out the mistakes or the flaws, right? Sometimes they offer good feedback. But actually, a lot of the big motivators that led me to improve was my own ingrained critics.
yeah.
So ironically, the people who bullied me before, I carry them with me, in a way. And then they're a lot more mellow now because they probably grew up as well. Um, but I think of them. I think of what they said in the past, and then I give myself, I know I open myself up to that criticism just a little bit, and then I
Mm,
feel that I'm now at the point where I have thick enough skin to to draw, and then to learn that this doesn't work. This doesn't work. That doesn't work. I don't like how this looks. I know I can do better. Pero I don't think that's just thicker skin. That's being mature, right?
mm,
It's mature thinking. I think my thick skin na, it's just bravado. It's a scab turn into a wart. I don't know biology as much. It's a festering wound underneath a ton of scabs. Parang ganun. Sometimes that could be thick skin.
mm,
In this
yeah.
metaphor. And the point is na sometimes you're a very negative person at the core, because you have these wounds because of people who have hurt you in the past.
Oo,
Um
right.
and and you think that's thick skin, right? So you kind
Mm,
of like inflict the same hurt on other people. I think that's the problem with the whole thicker skin metaphor.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
When I use that metaphor siguro, I think of the people who excel in their craft, no? Kunyari athletes, artists, kahit sino.
Mm-mm.
And usually, they are the people who look for feedback.
Tama.
And they don't look for praise. Usually, ang sasabihin nila is, don't give me yung positive comments. I don't need that. Hindi ko kailangan ng positive comments. I need to know how I can improve. And that's what they're
Yeah.
gonna ask from people.
Mm-hmm.
And tama yung sinabi mo kanina eh. Like, parang no one's gonna get into this craft kung ano naman yung art na passion natin, no? Like whatever our passion is. If hindi natin siya love, we're not passionate about it. Pero if we are passionate about it, then we want to hear real feedback that will help us
Mm-hmm.
improve dun sa craft na yun. And I
Mm-hmm.
think yun sinasabi mo is good, like in terms of like parang letting go of yung parang these things that are preventing us from getting the work done. Kasi in a way, it's only when we do the work, dun lang darating yung, ano eh, yung constructive
Mm.
feedback eh. Kasi
Tama.
yung feedback that's in our minds, that's looping in our minds, that's not helping us do anything. That's not helping us move forward.
Mm.
Pero once we actually get the work done, tapos meron tayong something to show the world, and then we get to receive feedback from the people, whether positive or negative, whether parang alam nila pinag-usapan nila or di nila alam pinag-usapan na. We take all of
Mm.
that data in, and then we become better. We grow.
Mm.
Mas
Tama.
nag-improve tayo sa craft natin.
Yeah, yeah. I totally vibe with that idea.
Mm.
I have no counter argument. Kasi ano, ganun naman dapat. I think at some point alam mo yun, even if someone say ano, we have to have enough integrity, internal integrity to just accept it if someone says, "Oh, your art is trash." Parang ganun. Kasi number one, it's subjective. Number two, maybe your art is trash at that moment. You know, pero I think it's either you can imply something with your negative criticism, like
Mm-mm.
and that's the reason why ano it's such a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Kasi it could mean your art is trash, or let's contextualize it in your context. Your preaching is boring, so you shouldn't preach, right? Like that
Mm-mm.
could be a subtext.
Yeah.
And let's like ano, let's clear the air. People imply things. I don't like it that people just start denying that people imply things. And sometimes people do imply certain things. Um, what's my point? No. I would rather take like the most uncharitable feedback from someone who I know in the heart of hearts wants me to be better, wants me to draw this again
Yeah.
because it just sucks, right? Like maybe
Mm-mm.
it'll destroy me for the moment, and then I recover, and then I get back at it, and then I say, oh, this really does kind of suck, and then you do it again. I would rather have that guy than some
Yeah.
guy who really just wants to destroy me.
Mm-mm.
And I think there are people out there who have nothing to do in the world but to put other people down. And those
Mm-mm.
people don't deserve your ears. I
Yeah.
think that's my opinion.
And siguro, like, people who don't know the struggle of, like, for example, being an artist, like, sometimes, tapos all they give is, negative feedback. Uh, Parang, they don't even know how hard it is, eh, no? Like, ako, personally, balik na naman ako sa context ko, no? That's why I never give harsh criticism sa, uh,
Mm,
other people's preaching, even though parang it's not,
mm,
hindi siya quality, like if I compare, but
mm,
kasi number one, like, iba naman kasi talaga pag you have YouTube and then you can hear all of the best preachers in the world every time, no? Eh, parang
Oo,
lahat
medyo
tayo,
snobby ka.
masyadong mataas yung standard natin lahat, all of us, di ba? Kasi
Oo.
nga, ah, like yun nga, parang that's, yun nga, we're talking about yung online world rin, eh, no? And that's just
Mm,
one of the realities of having this online world where everything is accessible to us. We get the best of the best na mga creative works. That's why sobrang taas ang standard ng mga tao, no? Yung pangalawa, I know kasi how difficult it is to
mm,
do and to do well. Like, alala ko yung unang mga preaching classes ko. Like, we had preaching, meron kaming preaching lab na ginagawa sa seminary. And then when we do yung preaching love, lahat kami, like,
mm,
we don't have the courage to give negative feedback sa mga classmates. Not because graded, or not because parang we want to receive positive feedback also from the other classmate. I think maybe some of us yun yung reason, pero primarily it's because alam namin pinagpuyatan namin to, eh. Pinaghirapan namin yung
mm,
exegesis, pinaghirapan namin yung, like, everything pinaghirapan namin. So when we give feedback,
mm,
we try to give constructive feedback, pero alam namin mahirap. And I think
mm,
that's why, yun nga eh, like yung sinasabi mo na, the people who, sometimes the people na pinaka-harshest critics are people who are themselves not willing to take up yung pen nila or yung brushes nila to create their own art. Kasi they know how
Can
harsh
I
they are.
interject a bit?
Sige bro, go ahead.
No, no, share ko lang. so number one, this is an aside. It's not to support any ano. Pero I know this YouTuber who is so good at criticizing.
Mm.
Pero pero trinash yung work niya kasi sobrang boring. Hindi ko na sasabihin kung sino kasi I love that guy.
I think
He
I know
drinks
that
a
guy.
lot. He's very critical and he drinks a lot. And I love him so much. Pero na-trash yung book niya. And it's like, it made me realize na you can be very critical and very good at criticism. Pero it doesn't mean that your quality is also good. Like Simon Cowell, right? Like Simon
Mm.
Cowell is a great critic, but it doesn't mean he's a great singer. He just, parang kumbaga, he just knows that the beef should taste like this. Parang ganun.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have a second
Mm.
addition. I know this other guy. I love this guy. He's on YouTube right now. He made the original video game Fallout. His name is Tim Kaine. Anyway, the do you know? Have you watched the Fallout TV series?
No, bro.
No, okay,
Mm.
maybe if people have watched it, you know, maybe they're going to hate me about the for this. But I grew up with Fallout, and I hated the TV series for what it stands for. And that, you know, it's okay if you enjoy it, that's good for you, but that's not my Fallout. Anyway, si Tim Kaine, ayaw na i-criticize yung Fallout. He didn't criticize it in a good way or in a bad way. He just said that certain parts of it were good, and so on and so forth. But he didn't like say anything much about it after that, as far as I know. And I just wanted to support your idea that when you know how the sausage is made, it's harder to criticize other people who make the sausage.
Yeah.
Kasi you know you need to be sympathetic to people who make the same thing
Mm.
as you make because it's not easy.
Yeah, pero
Um,
you know what's interesting about that, bro, is once you reach a level of success and you realize nga na no one's giving you the straight dough, no? Yun yung term, no, na
the slang
ginagamit.
on the streets, the straight
Oo.
dope.
Like yun yung, I don't know what I'm talking about. Di ko alam yung mga American na mga lingo nila, no? Pero basically, walang nagsasabi sa'yo ng ano, ng
Oo.
totoo. Kasi nga, no one wants to, parang hurt your feelings. And what happens is people like yun sinabi mo na sila Simon Cowell, yung mga critics na mahilig uminom, isang tao na yun. Like parang you wanna listen to them. Gusto mo sila pakinggan
Oo.
if you want to improve. Kasi yun nga
Oo.
like for the love of the craft, you'd want to improve it. And yun nga parang of course you start out as novices and then you need encouragement to do it. Like um lahat tayo ganun. Like ito,
Mm.
for example, like last week I spoke with si Aaron, no? Dun sa, not last
Eh,
week, yung last episode,
yeah.
some time ago, I can't remember which day. And after nung discussion namin dun sa podcast, I listened again dun sa unang podcast interview namin dun sa uh, Fate Library, no? Which was about 3 years ago, according to YouTube. And talagang sobrang like I spoke so differently during that time kasi syempre kinakabahan. Ganyan, was very conscious thinking na the whole world is gonna watch this. Hindi naman, konti lang naman yung nanood. Hindi naman 1 million views yung,
I
yung
need
mga
to rewatch
tuwa.
that.
Pero yan, like talagang sobrang like, I don't know who that person is ngayon. Like, yun yung parang, what I was listening to it nga. Kasi nga, after years of parang doing this, diba, like, uh, preaching, speaking sa public, nag-develop na ako ng skills. And ngayon, parang inisip ko, at that time, like, if I listen to, like ako, like, the feedback that I would give myself dun sa video na yun, what, sobrang kinakabahan yung boss mo. There's nothing to be kabado about, ganyan, ganyan. Or, um, but puro English ka magsalita, ba't di ka mag-Tagalog ng konti, hindi naman puro American yung audience mo dyan. Like, I'd give comments like that to myself.
Yeah.
Pero, at that time, naalala ko, like, even yung wife ko wanted to be nice sa mga comments niya kasi syempre, bago nga lang
First
ako.
time mo eh.
First time ko pa lang
Oh.
mag-podcast interview during that time. 'Di ba? So, everyone wants to be nice. Pero like if you look back, like ako, like if I look back sa mga prior works ko, no, yung mga una kong mga sermons, ang dami kong mabibigay na feedback sa sarili ko. Pero if no one gave me that feedback in the past, parang medyo matatagalan yung improvement process
Mm.
ko. And feeling ko parang in a way it's gonna like the feedback that I eventually received. Like for example, sabi sa akin ang bagal kong magsalita sa preaching, for example. If hindi ko na-receive yun, then I'm not gonna work at speaking faster. Or may nagsabi
Mm.
na masyadong you get the point, no? Like maraming mga parang mga things na binibigyan ng mga tao na feedback na hindi mo siya ma-accept during that time kasi nga parang yun nga ego, pride. Pero yun
Tama.
nga for your own good, parang you'd wish
Mm.
na narinig mo siya. So, yun lang naman yung thoughts ko about that. Pero yun nga, again, yun nga like sometimes it disconnects dun sa ano no, dun sa I think yung second question na medyo nadaanan na natin. I'm
Mm.
gonna read it na lang and then we can
Yeah,
still
yeah.
talk about it. And I think baka may mga points ka na ma-add dito sa second question eh. Pero what I'm saying right now, medyo sa third question na tayo. We'll go back to that dun sa third question. Pero ito,
Sige.
second question muna tayo. So, Brother Nick, what is it about the social dynamics in the online world that make creativity difficult?
Okay, yeah, good question. Sobrang ano eh, no? Sobrang technical. I just wanted to
Ah,
ask para ma-disambiguate,
sige, sige.
disambiguate, sorry. What's social dynamics? When you mean social dynamics, you mean like relating to each other, parang ganun, like how people
Um,
react.
I, I was intentionally making it a broad term, no? Kasi parang
Mm,
sobrang unique ng ano eh, ng online world. Siguro that's what I was trying to bring up dun sa question. It's so different than yung world before na wala pang ganito, wala pang
mm,
internet, wala pang online, wala pang YouTube, wala pang Facebook, wala pang yung mga stuff nga that we see online. And then this comes into the society. And then now a lot of things have changed, 'di ba? Like
mm,
all of a sudden nakakapag-connect tayo virtually. All of a sudden not just yung particular ideas. Like alala ko like bakit lahat ng mga uh, famous people parating nasa California, 'di ba? Parang yun
mm.
in times past, no. So, syempre kasi doon yung Hollywood, kaya sila yung nagma-mass produce ng mga media stuff.
Slop. Ay,
Pero
sorry.
ayun. So, anyway, now, dahil nga sa internet, like social dynamics in the internet, marami tayong influence na makukuha from different places na usually hindi naman mabibigyan ng spotlight, no?
Right.
Anyway, so that's what I mean. Like parang because of this internet world, may mga unique social dynamics na nangyayari that changes things nga. And what is it about that makes people like you and to a certain extent me and other people na merong creative um temperament or parang meron tayong the Lord gave us this ano parang desire to exercise yung creativity natin in a certain way and hindi natin siya ma-exercise like bakit kaya ganun like ano yung mga what's the thing about the internet world or the online world.
Alam mo bro, hindi ko alam if magiging satisfying yung answer ko. Pero ang lagi namin sinasabi, ang lagi namin joke dito sa bahay, kaka-reels namin yan.
Sorry.
Kaka-reels mo yan. I think one of the problems of being online, I don't know if this pertains to social dynamics, how you relate to other people, but this
Mm-mm.
is certainly about your relationship with content on social media.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that really kills your creativity would be kind of like the Facebook, TikTok, YouTube reel system. Ngayon, everyone's on reels. Everyone is dependent on reels. There are funny things on reels that just take up your time. I am obsessed with dogs,
Mm,
and I
mm,
hate this monkey on my back. Sometimes there are videos about monkeys literally on people's backs.
yeah,
Um, so I think one of the things that makes it difficult to be a creative online right now is that it's there's so much distractions.
yeah, yeah.
There's so many
Mm.
distractions. I don't know if that answers your question because you wanna ask about relationships, right? Like our
No,
dynamics of
I
the
think I
society.
want many answers. That's one
Yeah.
answer na ano, maganda yan, bro. Like we can talk about that also.
Mm-mm, yeah.
So yeah,
Um.
kasi in a way
Mm,
yung the reward system that you get out of yung doing something creative, in a way you can get it instantly eh. Manood ka
yeah.
lang ng YouTube short about itong monkey na to na sumasayaw or something like whatever it is,
Mm-mm,
no? And then you can get yung hit na agad eh.
mm-mm,
Psychologically, 'di ba? So kaya yung yun nga so Deep Work by Cal Newport, yun yung one of the books that I've read no nung sinusulat ko yung book ko. And yung advice nga niya is don't do anything in the morning. Like pagising mo, just get to your whatever yung passion project na ginagawa mo and then do it and then don't do anything else. Like wag kang magbukas ng phone kasi nga all of those distractions will prevent you from doing the important work
right.
that is really meaningful for you, 'di ba? It's like parang the tyranny of the ano, yung anong term yun? Parang you're being tyrannized by yung mga small rewards that you get from yung nuggets of uh information from the YouTube video, from yung scrolling sa social media, from yung shorts or yung reels na pinapanood
Mm,
natin. Pero yung mahirap na work, yung deep work, yung something that's hard to do, like for example, writing a book o kaya um drawing something or whatever your
yeah. Yeah.
passion project is that takes a lot of time to complete. Hindi mo siya magagawa kasi you have all of these little things eh.
Mm-mm.
Ayun. So yeah, that's one. Another thing, siguro connected sa relationships is na mention ko na rin siya kanina. That's why I was thinking of skipping it. Pero yung isa pa is the ano, yung all of yung mga best and most creative. Like for example, I'm not sure saan ko nabasa to, si Malcolm Gladwell yata. Not sure.
Mm-hmm.
Or someone else. Pero ang sinabi is like before nagkaroon ng MP3 and then parang all of yung mga music are being streamed and recorded, mass produced. Yung mga tao who want to listen to good music would go dun sa uh, nearby na bar where someone's playing music. Tapos yung best singer in town, sila yung pinakasikat na singers. Pero since nagkaroon na ng mass production na yung music, in a way na nabawasan yung audience ng mga town singers ngayon, na mga musicians. And then etong mga superstar na magagaling talaga ng mga singers, the best of the best, sila yung sumisikat, di ba? So I think that's one that maybe one. Kaya we're not as inclined to produce our own, for example, stories, our own novels, our own movies, for example, or novels tayo sa Pilipinas. Wala tayong masyadong novelist, no? Kasi we can just
Yeah.
export it, parang import it, or ano ba, we can just import it from the States eh, di ba? Tapos we can get it instantly eh. Tapos it's not like yung magagawa natin will be much better than yung ginagawa
Mm,
nila. Parang yung reward ng like the output, yung hard work that you have to invest into making that, building that world, and then the reward that you get out of it, not necessarily na ano siya, na
mm.
babawi, no? Anyway. So any thoughts about that, brother?
Um, yeah, I think I think it's a sad thing, no. Pero I totally vibe with the idea that may mga factors talaga that allow for more it's not deterministic. Like you know, there are outliers, you can break the mold. you can chip at it until makatapos ka, right? Pero I'm sure there are factors that allow us to flourish in different ways. So kunyari, may mga novelist talaga tayo dito. Like I've read one of the my favorite novels from a Filipino author is F.H. Batacan's oh my goodness, I forgot the name of the Smaller and Smaller Circles. There we go. It's about the serial
Mm-mm.
killer. And the priest that tries to look for the serial killer. It's like Sherlock Holmes meets Jesuit priest. Um si F.H. Batacan yun, sobrang ganda nung book na yun. Um, it's very surprising na parang hindi ako masyado nakakita ng mga ganun sa market. Medyo maliit yung mga books natin. Like, they're a lot smaller. And I suppose that's because that's the market now. But
Mm-mm.
on the other hand, alam ko ngayon, hindi ko kasi to world, no? Pero ang dami mga lumalabas na book sa Wattpad ngayon.
Yeah.
Um, that are very thick in volume, parang ganun. So iba yung way that the thicker volumes manifest in our place in the world. Pero parang what sells thrives, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that point, no. Pero siguro what I'm trying to say lang is na in this siguro mas better na example yung musicians. Of course, people will keep
Mm.
making music pa rin, 'di ba? People will still keep making music pero hindi na gagawa ng like less incentive for the town musician to make music kung all of the radios meron ng yung
Oo.
favorite music nga, like yung pinakasikat na mga Ben and Ben ganyan, 'di ba? So,
Mm.
pero yun, I don't know, maybe mas siya, mas real siya in the yung mga less rural areas, no?
Mm.
Maybe. Last question, bro. Before we leave. And I
Yeah.
think ito yung totoong gusto natin talagang tumbukan pero parang I think we found something more interesting na
Oo.
pag-usapan. Pero this is also really interesting, no? Number three. So, Brother Nick, in your blog, you shared about your mental bullies. So sana ma-post mo to,
Mm.
no, para ma-post mo tong article agad para mabasa nung mga two or
Lagay
three.
natin sa lagay
Mm,
natin sa tao dito. Um, Lagay natin sa description kung saan nila pwede basahin. Parang gano'n.
yeah.
Yeah.
Para maalam ng two or three audience natin kung ano yung pinag-uusapan natin. Pero yung,
Oo.
eto nga, in your blog, you shared about your mental bullies and how these invasive thoughts are preventing you from exercising and sharing your art to the world. You also mentioned that these mental bullies might not even be real, so they're non-existent. Can you share more about this? Is there a way for
Mm.
creative people who want to share their works online uh, to overcome these self-sabotaging thoughts?
Mm. Yeah, good question, no? So when I say na parang hindi naman totoo yung mental bullies, it doesn't mean na I wasn't bullied in the past, parang
Yeah.
ganun.
Mm-mm.
Pero you have to distinguish. That's what I learned. You have to distinguish between the real person who bullied you and the caricatured of the person that you've carried in your head for years.
Mm-mm.
So I'm sure we all have that caricature in our head. Someone snagging us when we screw up the dishes, parang ganon. I really hope it's not our wives.
Mm-mm.
It's probably not at this point in time. It's probably our moms that we imagine in our heads. So we're
Mm-mm.
always imagining someone in our heads who would react in that situation when we show it to them, parang ganun. So in my case, parang I imagine my bully sometimes. Not anymore these days, thank God. Because I have different problems. Pero that's what I mean by imaginary bullies in
Mm-mm.
your head. Right now, parang it I kind of got I'm getting used to the um I'm getting used to the idea. Sorry. Right now, what's hindering me from practicing in areas na I don't like? Dun lumalabas yung parang instinct. The
Mm.
instinct that, oh, people are gonna make fun of this because it sucks, or I'm making fun of this because it sucks, and I don't want to see this, right? Like I don't want to see
Mm.
this, and so I'm not gonna practice this. So that's what I mean by those mental bullies that are just your brain. It's your subconscious. It's your life experiences uh, rushing back to you. You know, it's your brain telling you this is a very painful thing that you went through in the past, and you shouldn't go back to it. Um, and I think you need, and this is, I know this is kind of the other side of the coin, right? You mentioned earlier na kailangan natin ng ng feedback, right? Pero honestly, kailangan rin natin talaga ng encouragement.
Yeah.
Like
Mm.
people who really appreciate your improvement, your progress, your hard work, your dedication, right?
Mm.
People who will not hesitate to give you feedback. Wonderful, right? Pero why is the world so obsessed with that? When we also need people who are encouraging, who who say, "Hey, good job." Who say, "Wow, you're still at it after all these years." Yeah, or "Hey, man, I'm proud of you for sticking at it." We need those people too, because those
Mm.
people, we live in a communal world, even if we don't like it, right? Even if we think we're individualistic. In a way, we are individualistic. And that's another problem that we can tackle in the future. But in another way, we have communities. We always have communities. Um, and we want to make sure that we're doing the right thing. Sometimes we know that we're doing the right thing because we have good communities. But other times we want to make sure that if we don't know what's right, then other people could tell us, hey, good job,
Yeah.
or hey, I'm proud of you for going through this.
Mm.
um this is it's good that you're pursuing this endeavor. It's good to have that.
Yeah.
I think in the past, the reason why I was able to overcome all of this is because people were supportive.
Mm.
People were supportive. They didn't want to, it's not just that they didn't want to hurt my feelings. They appreciated the fact that I was trying. And there are so many good people out there. I got to I don't want to toot my horn, no, but I was able to make, I was able to make designs in collaboration with some pages right now, some gospel centered pages right now. Um, like two designs, because I don't know, they invested in my time and wanted to invest in my talents. So having
Yeah.
a community of people who appreciate you, who know you're flawed, they're not gonna, hindi nila ibabamboozle ka like, oh, you're so good, right? They're not gonna flatter you. Maybe they're gonna even say, this is where this doesn't work. Parang ganon. But they're going to appreciate you. Like they're doing it in the spirit of being on your side, of appreciating you. It's those kinds of people that you should surround yourself.
Yeah.
I think I'm very thankful because my church was that kind of people to me. People in my church were very supportive. They were kind. They offered
Yeah.
constructive feedback.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm.
yeah. So that's
So,
what I think would help overcome
yeah.
these self-sabotaging thoughts.
We're running out of time now, so I just wanna add this, no. You can't expect tayo, like any creative person who's producing art out there. We can't expect to experience that kind of support, that kind of encouragement. Let's be honest, no. You can't expect to experience that in the online world. Kasi in the online world, you put your stuff out there, they're gonna compare it to the best. Either you get ignored, hindi nila papansinin yung art mo, or
Yeah,
i-
sixty
they
percent.
they will just bully yung art mo, 'di ba?
Yeah,
Or they will say bad things. The only place where you can get those kinds of encouragement as you're improving your craft is in community. Sa community lang natin makukuha yan. Like, it's only in the context of friendship. Pag meron tayong mga kaibigan who meron tayong mutual support. Kasi all of us, we all have a journey of improvement, and all of us need people to support us, and then sinusuport rin natin sila. And if we do that with our friend, like tayo, friend side, that's why we're doing this Telo and Friends podcast. We support each other. And then even if no one else watches this, itong ginagawa natin, since we're supporting each other, tuloy-tuloy pa rin tayo, gagawin pa rin natin siya. And then we
Yeah.
improve. And then in the community, habang nag improve tayo, we get better. You get better as a writer, as a creator. I get better as a pastor, dito sa podcast na ginagawa natin, we get
Mm.
better. And then
I buy
later
a better
on,
microphone.
yeah, and then later on when pag nandun na tayo sa level na other people are parang mas may attention na tayo from people. Not saying na yun yung goal natin, pero yung point lang is, hypothetically speaking, dumating sa ganung point, we've only reached that point because we had this community nga. Meron tayong friendship. Meron tayong mga kaibigan. And that's what we're trying to do here sa podcast natin. We're just trying to build a community. People who support each other na nagmamahalan the same way that si Christ, no, loved us. We want to share that love
Amen.
in our small community, no? So,
Yeah.
yun lang. We can share other thoughts siguro in the next episodes. Pero for now, let's end there. Bye, everyone. Bye, Brother Nick.
Bye.